Now it
Hey
works.
guys,
Yeah.
thank you. Hey Alvaro. Good. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to Europe. Good morning to the US. I'm very happy to have you here with our webinar, Get the Cinematic Look. So my name is Klaus Pfeiffer. I'm heading the content acquisition team for Sony Professional in Europe. And I'm joined here by my lovely colleague, Alvaro. Alvaro.
Hello,
Vielen Dank.
I'm also, maybe some of you already have the unfortunate accident of knowing me from some videos, or especially if you are related to camcorders, which is my specialty, obviously. Let me say thank you to all you for spending your time with us, and a special thanks to the guests we are probably going to have here, and also to all the team that is working in the background to make this work. So thank you very much indeed, and let me pass the word to my colleague Klaus. Let's start. Okay.
Great, thank you, Alvaro. Great, but yeah, it's not only about us, it's much more about the four extremely talented cinematographers that we have with us this evening or morning. So I'm very happy to have four of them with us today. So Mass, Lauren, Kenzen, and Paul, could you please switch on your cameras now?
Hi.
Hey, Paul, Lauren, Kenzen,
hi guys,
and Mass. Brilliant. There you are, looking very good. Thank you very much. So yeah, welcome to all of you. I will just do a quick introduction, but before I do this, let me just say that we will be recording this session. So if in chance you would like to hear again what was discussed here, you can do that afterwards. And also, you're very, very welcome to ask any question that you want in this little chat window down there. We will pick this up during the call and can pass this on to the speakers. So without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. Let me start with the introduction. So Mass, first turning to you. Could I ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your background?
Sure. Hello all. I'm Matt. I'm Danish, but I'm based in London. I have been probably 10 years since I started in the industry. Worked my way up as AC, and that should make me a very technically interested type of DP, but I'm not that interested in that, to be honest. Yeah, I lived in London the last 5 years, trying to move up the ladder. That's basically it, I think.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mads. Yeah, from little Denmark to big London, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, good. So what clip did you bring with you today? Can you tell us a bit more why you brought this?
Yeah, so as we all know, there's a pandemic everywhere, and that means that I took my family back to Denmark and my family over summer, and so that made me to shoot a little thing in Denmark for Volkswagen, or Volkswagen as UK guys you say, and it was very low budget kind of, and very low crew because of COVID, and we took a few vans and shot all over Denmark, and basically trying to commercial for Volkswagen stays, as they call it, to promote different stays in, because people were gonna holiday in Denmark anyway. Not interesting. Important thing is it was a lot of fun, and I had a FX9, and then we just rock and rolled for a week, and it was a lot of fun.
Brilliant. I'm very much looking forward to that. So Dave, could I please ask you to play the clip?
Inden vi får set os om, er vi nået frem. Så du alt det du ville? Tog du det hele ind? Huskede du at stoppe op? Eller havde du for travlt? Havde du for travlt til at leve fuldt? Oplev verden med Volkswagen California.
Volkswagen.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you very much, Mas. This is actually, well, my wife for sure will go for that car now because of this commercial.
Yeah,
Makes me
very,
want to
very
go
cool
there.
car. Yeah, I mean, so what can I say about this? I think I was really into the idea at that point of long lenses and moving handheld cameras and trying to give it a little bit of I don't know, some dynamic into it. And I thought this camera, because I just invested in this camera, and I really felt like it was a great opportunity to test it because it's full frame, and that meant I could run around on a 50mm, 70mm lens, and I felt very comfortable, and it was not too shaky, and I really enjoyed that. And plus, yeah, we shot all in natural light, so we were very dependent on sun and shadows and time of day, and it really was it was the first time I really seriously tested the camera, but it was just a really pleasant experience to just take the camera and point it up to the sun and see how that sort of sun hit the lens, and it sort of just bloomed in a really beautiful way. And I've tried it a few times since, and it's very, very nice. For it's not one of the most expensive cameras out there, so I was very surprised that it had that quality to it. And yeah, there's a lot of other features about that makes it very easy to operate and you shoot super quickly. You're very fast. I mean, you take the camera, turn it on, and then you got the shot. So that was a very good experience, and I'm really happy with the result.
And you did capture the light up there very nicely. So thank you for that. But let me just finish with the introduction. So thank you very much, Mas. Right, Lauren, if I could turn to you, please.
Yes.
Can I please ask you to introduce yourself? So from London straight to LA.
Yes, so I've been in LA for 5 years. I work with the National Hot Rod Association, which is drag racing. Never knew the sport even existed. So believe me, it was quite a thrill. It's very loud. And so I've been working with them for 5 years, and it's been an amazing experience.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'm very much looking forward to see your clip. But what kind of clip did you bring? What, of course, hot rod. But what is so special about this?
So this clip is basically kind of showing the viewer drag racing without saying any words. Basically, the sounds, the feels, the location, kind of making that just the driving factor. And it was perfect because it was, as most of my shoots, it's run and gun. So whatever I get, and I got to get it quickly. These cars go in 3 seconds. So high frame rate shooting is my very best friend.
Brilliant. Looking forward to that. So Dave, could I please ask you to play the clip?
Nice.
Shake
Amazing
it.
content, Lauren.
Thank you. Guys.
Thank you very much. I can feel the noise and vibration if you see that content. Brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we will come back to you in a second. But yeah, let me introduce Paul Turens from Spain. Paul, can I please ask you to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I've been cinematographer for something like 15 years. My main work is in movies. I shoot like, I've been shooting movies since like 10 years ago, and I've shot 9 movies as DOP and 10 other movies with other roles like second unit cinematographer, BFX supervisor, whatever. Right now, I'm doing most of the time commercials since the pandemic began. So we stopped at the narrative thing, and I have 2 movies waiting to be on cinemas, but it's going to be complicated. So today I'm here talking with a piece that we're going to introduce now, which is a commercial that I shot during the pandemic, and it's a commercial for a non-governmental I don't know how it's called in English.
Organization, yeah.
Organization,
NGO,
something like
NGO,
that.
I think. Yeah.
NGO, I think is the name. Yeah, which is Doctors Without Borders. It's a commercial for getting money for vaccines in Africa, and you will see the main shot of the doctor, which is already an actual doctor. It's not an actor. It's shot in a studio, and you will see some images of kids in Africa which were shot last year, and it's material shot by the doctors, so it's not shot by me. But we tried to recreate the look of a tent in a camp in Africa, and it's done in a studio. And we did it with the FX9, and I was doing some tests with the FX9. I've been one of the first DOPs to test the camera with you guys in London last year, and I was so happy with the results. I really wanted to explore the full frame thing, which is not new because I was shooting already with the Venice, but the dual ISO at 4000, it was a huge thing for me. The thing is, you will see now the piece. You will see it's in a high key light, but it's shot 4000 ISO. I mean, I wanted to recreate a good mood for the doctor, not with big lights, so he can feel comfortable on set, but with that kind of brightness, which should be something like a sun shining around 10, something like that.
Great, thank you for this introduction. So Dave, can I please ask you to play the movie, the clip?
Soy Javier Casero, pediatra de Médicos Sin Fronteras. Esta marca significa que soy inmune a una enfermedad mortal. Quizá tú también la tienes. Las vacunas nos protegen contra varias enfermedades. Envía ahora un SMS con la palabra vacuna al 28033 y dona €1,20. Con tu SMS vacunarás a 3 niños contra sarampión. Envía vacuna al 28033. ¿Sabías que con una vacuna no solo proteges a Sara, sino que evitas que la epidemia se propague? Gracias.
Skin tones are
Yeah,
amazing.
the skin tones were beautiful.
Yeah.
I really like
Nice.
it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Paul. That's great content, and we will talk about this in a second, how you did this. And I would really like to know how you did this. Okay, but last but not least, again, from Spain back to San Francisco. Actually, sorry, outside of LA, sorry, against it.
It's all good, no worries.
No worries. Okay, so can I please ask you also to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so what's up, everyone? My name is Kenzin Takahashi. I'm a cinematographer based out of San Francisco. I got my start in the industry around 5 years ago, actually as an extra on a TV show called 13 Reasons Why. And I kind of worked my way up season 2 to production assistant. And then season 3 and 4, I ended up working as a grip. So that's where I was working directly under the cinematographers and really like taking notes. And that's kind of how I learned how to light. And after season 4, the series finale ended, the crew went on to do the San Francisco unit of Matrix 4. So again, I got an opportunity to work under Oscar-winning cinematographer John Toll, and really just like looking at how he's lighting the sets and what ideas can I steal, right? So I attribute a lot of that to where I am today, and I've since transitioned to exclusively working as a cinematographer now.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Kenzen. So the clip that you brought along with you today is indeed just showing that. It looks like for me, it looks like a movie. It's amazing. So what can you tell us?
Yeah, so that footage that I provided is a cinematography reel that my producer, Jillian Nordby, and co-producer, Sierra Olson, we created completely from scratch, meaning all the shots were fabricated for the sole purpose of being in the reel. And it was exclusively shot on the Sony FX9 in what I believe to be a pretty pretty large variety of real world narrative examples. So it's a really good example of what this camera is capable of.
Great. So Dave, without further ado, let's play the clip.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Good stuff.
Wow, this is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really amazing. Congratulations. That's the lighting is just beautiful. We'll talk about this in a second. Yes, thank you very much, Kenzen.
Of course.
Great. Good. So that's all for the introduction. Again, if you have any questions, please put that into the question box. And we are very happy to have these four talents here who have, I think we can all say that it's just a great variety of content, from documentary to commercials to sports. So everything that this camera and what we can show that this camera can do. So let me hand over to my colleague Alvaro, who will do some more and talk to you on how exactly you did it.
And in fact, I am in the learning process of all this, so I'm totally astonished about the contents that you have provided. I couldn't imagine that with this camera you could do some things like this. And for instance, Mats, one thing that for me was amazing is that you have told that you have been using natural lights at all the time. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, I see a very big coherence between the aerial planes and also the very short takes with the skin tones. And how could you reach that? Were you shooting in different days or with the same light, or how? Because for me that is totally amazing.
We shot Yeah, well, there's a lot of magic going on in grading, which is and also a very a good selling point, I think, for this camera. But I don't know, skin tones is hard to say. It's just seemed very easy. It just you don't have to work very hard on this camera to get a really nice skin tone, and I feel a bit silly taking credit for it because honestly, I just point the camera against a
and it's fine.
good-looking bottle, and then a big bright sun in the background, and then then you're 90% there. So for me, I was more concerned. I knew I could get the light right because I just got to wait to the right hour because we knew the sun was coming out. So for me, it was more about how I handled the camera, how you walk with it and how you turn it. And then I think that take of the start, I think we took it 25 times just to, and then you only use a little bit of it. It seems silly, but that's how it is, And then just to, yeah, but yeah, I don't have that much to say. Besides, it's just I'm not doing that much really. It's the camera when we talk about skin tones. And then maybe I don't know. Sometimes I joke that it's in summertime. Everyone's a bit sun-kissed, so it makes it a bit easier as well to be a cinematographer. I mean, in LA and San Francisco, you get that all the time, but here where I live, you get that probably 3 weeks a year.
You will be welcome to Spain if you come here.
Yeah, Spain as well.
Oh, we have a very nice light for that, but even in that case, having the chance to play with the dynamic range to set the stops where you want them to be, I think it's you need to be skilled also to do that. That is my
Sure, you have to recognize where the shots are, but that comes, I guess, quite easily. But yeah, of course, that's a skill as well. That's right.
Easy for you, not for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, Lauren, when I was watching at your video, which for me is also amazing. Firstly, I was feeling the power of those cars. I wanted to buy that Volkswagen car and also one of those drag race cars, which is impossible, obviously. But one thing I was wondering when thinking about that is how to use a camera to be in those little spaces that you cannot be in control of. So, for instance, I was thinking about the weight, the balance of the camera, finally the ergonomics. And for me, I assume that is quite a challenge.
It was a challenge, but with the FX9, the weight is actually so perfect. And I had a long lens. I had a 70 to 200 on there, but it's one of those things. It's so run and gun. You're talking about a cinema camera, which you can just basically take and just whip it anywhere. So I'm under engines. I'm in the midst of it, and the camera handles so well. Because a lot of cameras, when that first car launches, that sensor can jump. It is the most powerful thing. It's 11,000 horsepower at go. So the camera handled it so well, and it was perfect. I literally, almost like Matt said, I just pointed it, and it just created the magic that I needed it to have.
And were you using any kind of stabilizer or easy rig or any rig for doing that?
No, this is literally this is all handheld. This is me holding it, cradling it, and some points me going up high, underneath, whatever need be, because this sport is very fast. Those cars, when they launch, it's like 3 seconds. So any type of trying to get a rig or trying to do anything like that, you can't be cute with that sport, and that camera handled it. It's a beautiful camera, but it's also rugged. That's what I love it.
I need to learn a lot, definitely.
I was gonna say, I saw there was that one clip where the woman was looking off and like the railing was shaking. It was vibrating.
Was shaking.
Yeah. So that makes sense about what you're saying about the sensor. Oh my.
About the sensor on it, and it was perfect because a lot of people, when I first did that, they thought, oh, the video is messing up. And I was like, no, that's actually the actual
Action,
bar
yeah.
shaking. That is, the camera is capturing that. Like, that was beautiful.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And now with Paul, I was totally amazed in my case about how did you match, or how did you reach that? Or originally, I thought it was going to be very separated, the light of the background and the foreground, but the skin tones, for instance, and all the how to say, cinematic look.
Yeah.
How did you do that grading according to the camera take? So it's
I can show it if anybody can want to see it better, can maximize my image on the GoToWebinar. And this is the original file from the camera we shot with a log curve,
yeah.
the log curve. And this is the original from camera. And if you only add some contrast to the image, just with some curve, you can see which is, it's very close to the final one. We added a little bit of warm, but you can see that the skin tone is amazing. I mean, you have a little bit of burn here, but you can recover it so easily. And the good thing with the camera is that I did this kind of high key just without big lights. I mean, there's on the side of the actor, there's a 1K Fresnel with a bounce and then a frame. It's like a usual book light. Then there's another 1K on the back of the tent, which is not a tent, it's just silk. It's just some silks on tripods, and that's it. And there's another 1K on this side, on the right side for the background, and then a small kinoflow for the kick light from the side, and that's it. So the ambient inside the set, it was so calm. It was not big lights. It wasn't. This was shot in the middle of the pandemic, so the security on set was amazing because everybody was with distance, with mask and everything. And it's not a big separation between the guy and the tent. It's almost inside of the tent. So what it gives the sensation of deep depth, it's the full frame thing.
Full frame. So so you were working obviously in full frame mode in this case.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the typical what I see in the lights is the typical content that in 709, if it was shot in 709, it would be totally clipped, right?
Yeah, especially on this side. I really wanted to have the sensation of the sun hitting the tent, but I want the chance to recover it. And if you see, if I recover the signal, I can recover perfectly.
It's there, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfectly there. And if I can go wherever I want. The final signal that I like it was something like this. So you can see that there's a little bit of information, but a little bit of clip, because I really wanted to have the feeling of clip, of having a little bit of clip of the signal to be a more realistic space, because most of the time when you go to a film set, you have controls over everything. So you can do whatever you want, and these small imperfections is what it gives the reality to the image.
The realism, yeah.
Yeah.
Paul, did you record in? Sorry, Paul, did you record in S-Log3?
Yeah, with the ABC, so we recorded inside of the camera, not with an external recorder, and in Cine A mode, and applying a lot on the output to see a result, a lot that I done on Resolve with this same software, and I was very happy with the quality of the signal. I play a lot with the signal, and even being shot in 4000 ISO, the sensitivity it was really great. I was very happy.
And just as a curiosity, the color space was Sgamut 3 or Sgamut 3.cine?
.cine.
.cine.
Because I have a lot of experience with that color space, so I feel very comfortable with the grading starting from that point.
Yeah. Now let's go to Kenzen. I saw your clip just as if it was a little movie. To be honest, it reminded me, and this is just a personal comment, of The Dig, which was the short movie we launched with Venice. It had the same.
No, it was the Venice or the F5?
No, the Dig was for Venice.
Okay.
Was for Venice.
Okay.
But for me, what was amazing is obviously I assume that there was a lot of color grading after each shot. But how did you pair all those different lights and different sources from above, from below, short takes, wide takes? For me, that was very amusing even. So can you teach me about that, please?
Yeah, I mean, my approach to lighting is definitely like, and let me know if I'm cutting out because my internet's a little sucky right now.
Yeah, I think we are. I don't know if it is myself or everyone, but I think we are.
He's cutting out. Yeah.
Fortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. This is because of the cable that we launched to the other side of the ocean. Could have been thicker, I think. No, it's. Yeah,
Okay.
No, we are losing you. Let's do one thing. If you are okay, whenever you feel you are recovering or you try to talk to us, we will go with you so that it is okay. So sorry for that. Maybe I have stepped on the cable. So we wish we can recover that.
Can you hear me now? Is it working now?
Yes.
There we go. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, so I'll just start again because I'm not sure where I got cut off. But basically, yeah, my approach to lighting is very, very natural. I don't want to ever feel the source. That's my goal. So that usually means a lot of soft lighting. For most of it, it was very, very soft, often double diffused or book light, like Paul was talking about. And just I also feel that like if I don't light a scene, I don't really put my stamp on it, you know what I mean? So it's like even if like for some dusk shots, like they could have been done beautifully, just all natural, like kind of Mads footage, right? It's just a beautiful, you can really get that, but I want to try and add a little bit of light, because I find that if you figure out a way to add lights cohesively, then it'll always make the image look better. So that's kind of my approach.
And did you use the same lookup table for all the contents, or was it specific for each take?
Yeah, I used the standard S709 that's built into the camera for the entire thing. Yeah, that's how I monitored my footage.
So basically, you were building the grading while shooting, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. For a lot of it, I didn't have to do much. Some of the stuff, like Paul did, really just messing with contrast, lift, gamma, gain. Some nodes I went a little overboard, probably with like 20 nodes in Resolve, which is I wouldn't recommend. Is a little crazy, but for a lot of it, you could just throw contrast and it was beautiful. Yeah, the skin tones, everything. It was great.
Yeah. So I was really well, not surprised, because obviously we are living with very skilled people, but for me it is amazing to see that we can build so many different kind of jobs with the same tool, let's say. So I don't know, maybe each one of you have a different or maybe the same preferred thing about what you were doing or what you were playing with in the camera. I have my favorite, but I will tell you in the end.
But I know you very much, Alvaro, and
yeah,
we agree. To me, the dual ISO. I know that most of the people think of the new generation of cameras about the full frame, like a big thing. But I've been shooting in full frame for many years, starting with the 5D many years ago, and before of the Venice, I'm shooting with Alexa 65 and things like that. So we're already working on full frame. But the dual ISO, to me, it's the big thing about the camera right now.
I really like the colors of it. I think that's the most the interesting thing of it. It's so easy to make it look good. I mean, it's just as easy as, you know, the bigger cameras, and I absolutely love that. And I think, but I really like the full frame because I love a long lens handheld, and that's just also is a joy to shoot on.
As you were saying before, in my case, obviously I'm not a cinematographer, a camera operator, but I felt like it is very difficult to make things look wrong in the camera. That is my feeling. That the camera helps you a lot with all that brain structure for your take. And even in my case. Yeah.
Actually, there was one question from the audience here. Did anybody of you use S-Cinetone for the clips that we saw?
Yeah, not for these clips, but when we did the original test in Pinewood, well, not in Pinewood, in London with Leitner and other friends, I use it extensively, and I think it's one of the best color curves for a quick job. I mean, if you don't have time to go grading, go for Cinetone for sure.
I tried a little bit just as a test, and it looks really nice. It's very easy, and it's very tempting to just throw that on. And but then I really enjoy playing around with it. Not that I'm any very skillful colorist or anything like that, but it's fun.
In fact, well, maybe you know that 1 or 2 weeks ago we launched the version 2, and from my point of view, the camera is even better structured in order to work with S-Cinetone or S-Log 709. So it's a bit even easier to understand and to make it work as you want it to be. So
yeah, so even with HDR as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there is a question, Lauren, which I am also interested about. Thank you very much, George, for asking that. When you were doing the slow-mo takes, what were the adjustments that you were using for the drag race slow-mo?
So it was definitely the full frame, the 1920 by 1080, and I had it at 120 frames per second. The thing that I love about the camera too, the auto ND plays like so well with me because there's so much happening. I shoot from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., which means in California, you'll get the sunrise, the sunset, the golden hour, you get all that. And it's hard to do adjustments on the fly. So when the drivers are getting from outside the car to inside the car, it's a big drastic difference. And the camera transitioned it so smoothly, it's almost like it was a cut. It's almost like it was an edited piece, but I'm just shooting it, I'm pressing record. So yeah, the slow-mo was 120 frames per second, and the detail was so perfect. I mean, even in the shots with the young woman watching, that was at night. That was at nighttime, and the dual ISO helped me. I believe I was at maybe 8,000 ISO for that. Like that was at night that I shot that, and the detail is so perfect from her hair to the gait to, I mean, the color of her lips. It was just, even the last shot, it was at night, but you could still see a little bit of the sun as it was. The detail was perfect. It's just
nice.
You know, you don't feel that you're lacking when you have that camera in your hand, and that's a good thing.
I think it's very interesting. You've got 8,000. I haven't tried that yet because
yeah,
it's amazing.
That's cool. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, I kind of bouncing off what you said with the ISO too, because I did a lot of dusk shots, and you honestly get like an extra 30 minutes, 45 minutes of dusk on this camera, because with the combination of the 4,000 ISO as well as the variable ND, you just keep making the adjustments. You can go for like an hour and a half at dusk almost, even when the sun's like gone, right? So and also about the variable ND, that's like the thing that's really spoiled me the most, because it's so amazing. I had for one shot, I had my producer on my iPad, and we were connected via the Wi-Fi. And so it was an interior where the door opens, this guy has a gun, he busts open the door, and there's a flood of sunlight. So we needed to do either an iris pool, but in this case, we did an ND pool. So she was on the iPad, and like I gave her the parameters, the settings, and as soon as the door opens, she moves the ND wirelessly, and it's flawless. It was beautiful. So it's amazing. Yeah.
In fact, you know that well, I personally don't like a lot the automation on cameras, and ND filters is so far one of the few parameters that I have recommended to use for certain circumstances to be used. And now Vince, thanks for the comment, has raised a topic which is probably a voodoo, which is the autofocus. And you all know we love the focus puller, and obviously not for every situation, but have you tested the autofocus in this camera? Yes, as a curiosity.
Yeah. We did the original test, that ones with Neuralane as well, and Phil Bloom and the guys. And my suggestion for that is I use focus pullers more of the time and manual focus lenses, so it's not a big deal for me. But I think for live TV, it's a huge deal. Somebody with that kind of shot, moving a little bit, you can go with an 85 or a 50, wide open, and let a full interview live without problems. And that's huge for documentary, especially. Well, I suppose that Lauren has better knowledge of that.
Yeah, the face detection was so perfect because I was dealing with people moving in and out of frame, doing this, doing that, putting helmet, then another person coming across. And it was perfect because I never lost sight. It followed it flawlessly. And it wasn't a thing of just like it's trying to find it. It just automatically found it, and it was seamless.
I had a situation where I had to follow. Basically, where one of my big selling points of this camera was I was on the beach, 2 kids running around playing, one-man band, switch on, autofocus, auto ND, and the sun was perfectly in the background. And I just ran around for 5 minutes, came home, had a look, and then I literally had probably 90% of all the footage usable, whereas normally I would probably have 10% usable footage in such a situation. And that's really spoiled. Yeah. And my focus puller the other day, when I told him about it, he was
He's worried about his job. Yeah, to kind of bounce off of what Paul said a little bit was that I had the same experience on a 50 f1.4. My focus puller at the time, and a good friend Sam, he was a little stressed. We had a dolly shot where we were on a 50 1.4 tracking with the person, and he was a little stressed out, and I was just like, don't worry, we'll just shoot it on autofocus. And it was killer. And some people even thought he was pulling focus at the time, and they're like, oh my God, you're so good.
Some of the shots in the Volkswagen commercial is I had a 200mm GM lens, and I put a Doppler on, so I had a 400, and then we just tracked the car driving from about 100 meters away down to the lens, and it was flawless. It was just one-timers. I was really, really blown away by that. 400mm wide open, and insane, absolutely crazy.
To me, it's the first time in history of cameras that the autofocus is something interesting. Until now, it wasn't. So very happy with that.
Absolutely, and nobody says that. Well, we will not have any focus pullers. Definitely, we will still have them, and they are very, very important. But there are shots where you need to be very fast, like Lauren is doing. Where Mas was on the beach, where you need to be fast or would like to capture something, and where it absolutely makes sense, in my view, to switch it on and give it a try.
In fact, it was difficult, the migration from 1/2 inch or 2/3 inches to Super 35, but with a full frame sensor, the depth of field is so critical that any help is definitely welcome, I think. So
absolutely good. And while we were talking about lenses and autofocus. So we heard about the 7200. Lauren, you were using that?
Yes,
Right.
love that lens. It was the Sony's the G series, the G Master 7200. I love it because people don't see me. A lot of times people get nervous. A lot of the drivers get nervous in front of the camera. So it's great for me when I can use that lens where they kind of don't see me and they're doing something that they don't even know is just amazing. I could just pick them off. It's all, you know what I mean? And it's the detail in it. I don't have to. Those cars are very powerful. So if I don't have to go near them that close, it's perfect for me to get a tire wrinkle, get whether it's just the smoke or the exhaust coming out of the engine. It works well for me. And then also too the depth. If I can get a car right in the shot, and then also have the crowd in the background, and just it just plays well. I use that lens for the entirety of that day, and it just I never feel like I'm losing anything because I get every single detail.
Perfect. And Kenzen, what lenses do you use?
I use Sigma Art prime lenses. That's what I use for the entirety of that. So again, they have autofocus and they're great. So I use them. I'd say probably like 60% of the shots in that reel were autofocus. Yeah.
But it's great to have this variety, right? With the E-mount, you can choose whatever lens you want. And yeah, Paul, actually, I was so amazed. You showed me the other day some clips from your film that you just mentioned that you shot on Venice. It's called Venice.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you shot the whole thing basically with one lens.
With this one. It's all one lens, which is actually the same lens that I used for the commercial of the doctor. So it's a very old lens. It's a photographic lens. And while I'll talk, I can show images of the movie. This is Venus. It's a black and white movie shot with the Venice. And I shot the whole movie with just one lens. And we were talking about the cinematographic look, which is the main topic of this conference. And to me, when I was discussing this movie and the lens thing with the director, we found that the film look is something that changes from movie to movie. I mean, for example, Venus, which is the movie that you're seeing behind me, it's a black and white movie related to the French Nouvelle Vague series of movies, but also the Matrix is has film look, or Gone with the Wind, or so. I think that the cinematographic look or the film look, you get it with the narrative style of the lenses and the camera. I mean, at the end, it's the how you shoot the things, and that it becomes a movie or whatever. If you give that some kind of intention.
Paul, when you're shooting black and white, do you think about color temperature? Do you care, or does it kind of like you'll mix HMI with tungsten and stuff?
I did a trick, which is in most of the shots, the interiors of the place, that most of the movie happens in a bar. The interiors were shot with tungsten and the exterior with daylight. So if you see the originals of this scene, it's color corrected for the actors, but the background it's totally blue. The good thing is if you have you want to tweak the background, you only have to change the blue channel.
Oh, cool.
Clever.
You can move the dynamic range of the background just doing tweakings on just one channel.
So you're even more focused on the color separation than normally, is that right?
Yeah. If you see the originals of this, there's a huge difference between the colors. Yeah, I even colored with some gels, some scenes, because I wanted more separation, so I can do more things on post-production. It's something similar to put color filters on camera if you're shooting black and white.
Very cool.
That's good.
Paul, there was one question from the audience. We had John asking for if you have matched FX9 to Venice? If you had this experience.
I haven't done yet. It's one of the tests that I want to do it. I did a first test of doing some kind of match between the FX9 and I don't know how I can say it, but I did test with an A7S III because I have one for test, and it wasn't it wasn't complicated since they share a lot of parameters, and you can see the difference between the sensors, but you can match it. I think that you have the cinema line, it's called now, which is with the new camera. We don't know anything about that yet, but I will add that to that line, an A7S III, just as a backup camera or for crash cam or for some, because the good thing with the Venice, the FX9, even with the FS7, it's you have a curve which is similar to all the cameras with small differences, but it's not very hard to match the color. There's other things like sharpness and textures. That's other things, especially on noise and things like that. But in order to match a Venice and FX9, it should not be difficult to do.
No, I think as well, it looks very similar to when you pull in a little bit of Alexa footage and put it side by side. It doesn't take long to match those guys up, and but that's really important to me as well, that you can take this camera, it works, you can go straight from the countryside into the studio and it will be the same camera you use, just change a few lenses, and then you can build on, you can add on all the stuff, all the toys that you want when you're shooting higher end stuff. It still works with that. So yeah, it's a really broad camera.
Yeah. Last year I shoot a movie with Alexa, with the regular one, and right now I was preparing a movie which has been postponed for the next year because what's happening to the world. and I started to consider, instead of shooting with just one camera, because the project, I cannot talk about that, but it's a very specific project. I want to shoot the project with 3 cameras. And at some point, we've been discussing with the production company if, instead of shooting with one Alexa, shooting with 3 FX9, because we can fit in the budget without problems. And to me, the quality is enough for a small movie.
I would not have any issues doing that.
Yeah. I found the same thing, Mads, that it really did very remind me of an Alexa footage, which is, I mean, for me, that's the goal, right? That's the standard that I want to reach. And so, yeah, it's incredible.
A year ago, I wouldn't have believed it. I'm not going to shoot anything but Alexa or whatever.
That's what I said too.
Yeah, because you haven't tried the Venice.
Yeah, okay, I never tried the Venice yet, but I put that in the same category as the Alexa, to be honest. It's it was just mind blowing because I lost my thread, but yeah, I really rate it. It's good.
Good, great. Very much appreciate your comments here, and indeed, yeah, it is our goal. It's the goal from Sony that we are providing you tools for to do your art, to capture all these images, to capture what you have in your mind. And we hope that we are providing some good tools for you that can help you to realize your visions. So thank you very much for sharing this with us, your art, and giving some insight. And before we wrap up, can I please ask each of you to give just a little hint to new cinematographers, young cinematographers who might want to get in. Mas, can I just start with you, please? What would you give as a little advice?
Shoot, shoot, shoot.
That was very simple.
Never stop for me.
Simple.
Okay, Lauren, please. Any advice from you?
Yes, don't be afraid to try any shot. Nothing is, there are beautiful accidents that happen, and do not live by rules. Break them, because sometimes the best things come out of you breaking some rules.
Thank you. That's great. Paul, any comments from you?
Yeah, I think that the best thing that they can do is explore art, visit museums, try to get as much knowledge about painting, photography, explore painters like Hopper, like Vermeer, because at the end, it's not the photography, it's what you build around that.
Absolutely, I fully agree to you. That's you have to have the vision, the images in your head before what you want to create. Kenzen, any advice from you?
Yeah, I would just say that you can practice on your own. You can experiment on your own. You don't have to wait for a job or even a free gig to be learning. You can literally grab your camera in your house and set up some lights, grab a stand in and practice whenever you want. So I would say to do that.
As Mas said, shoot, 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 right?
Yeah.
That's brilliant, Mas. Thank you very much. Good. Thank you very much for all of you. Thank you very much, Lauren, Kenzen, Mas, and Paul for joining us this evening, this morning for you guys in the US, or from all. I saw visitors from Argentina joining, so hello to Argentina. Thank you very much for joining again. For all who have watched today, if you have any questions that or want to reach out to Sony, just leave a comment beneath. There should be something where you can leave a comment. We will have this webinar recorded, as I mentioned, so you can watch later again. And yeah, thank you very much for everybody behind the scenes, and Dave and Belen for joining and supporting myself and Alba.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. A
Thank
real
you very
honor.
much. Have a good evening, and very much looking forward to see more of you, from all of you very talented people. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening, good morning, bye-bye.